Hi all, welcome back to the Final Whistling. It's match preview. Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope everyone's well. Good morning to everybody. If just joining us, grab your teas and coffees and come and get involved in the show. I've got Championship content creator Benjamin Bloom. You'll know him quite well for all his Championship content. Ipswich as well. He follows the Tractor Boys. We're going to chat to Ben very shortly. Guys, as always, get involved, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Let's who's in this morning then. Casey, how are you, mate? Kyle, how are you? Hayley's in. How are you, Hayley? Nice start to a Sunday morning stream it is. Let's get my guest in there, Mr. Benjamin Bloom. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Yeah, just whacked a cup of tea down my throat, so I think I'm compos mentis and can speak about this monumental game tomorrow night.
Fantastic. Ben, let everybody know what you do then regarding the Championship and that then. Tell everyone where they can find you as well.
Yeah, so I founded the Blue Monday podcast, which is specifically an Ipswich Town podcast, but then Ipswich cleverly managed to get themselves relegated from the Championship and had a few seasons in League One. So we continue with the Championship content on my own channel, which is the Benjamin Bloom football channel, and that's now home of the, really pleased with this season, the Championship Check-In podcast with Sam Parkin, who you'll see on TalkSport and Sky Sports. He's a brilliant pundit. He's my kind of co-host on there. So every Monday we kind of bang through everything in the Championship. But for Leicester fans specifically as well, this weekend I would recommend Blue Monday podcast. I'll be on tonight, sort of looking ahead to this huge game tomorrow.
Fantastic. Let's get to know the opposition then. Your boys, Ben, third in the Championship. Had a great season, haven't they, under Kieran McKenna? They won one in the last six. What have you made of the Tractor Boys season, Ben, being an Ipswich fan, obviously coming up from League One? I mean, what's your expectations and that? How have you found the Championship?
It's just been fantastic. Absolutely, above expectations. Let's be fair, there was a lot of hype about us because of the way we finished last season. It was an incredible run from Valentine's Day last season. We basically blitzed League One and managed to sort of pinch second place as Sheffield Wednesday fell away. Mm-hmm. I would have been pretty happy anywhere around the middle. Top half I thought would have been great. I know a lot of pundits kind of went in heavy on us being higher, and to be fair, those people have been right. And to be up with the it might be a bit unlucky because we're in a season where all three of the year one parachute teams are doing really well, so might just be wrong place, wrong time for us this season, and the opposition might just be a little bit too tough. But no, after pretty much 20 years of stagnation, to have what looks like two good seasons in a row, let alone one, is absolutely brilliant.
Right now then, Caragoscally speaking, how do you see Ipswich? Do you see them going for second, or do you think now it'll be the playoffs? I mean, obviously people spoke quite a lot about Ipswich. When are they going to crumble? Are they going to crumble? How do you see it at this moment in time? Can they do it, or has Southampton kind of like caught Ipswich in this short moment of how their
Let me ask you a question. Did you see Southampton yesterday?
I did.
So I sat there that first 45 minutes and thought, my God, they're just never going to lose a game. I thought Southampton were absolutely brilliant in the first half yesterday. Look, I always say if you're like a year one parachute team and you're competent, my estimation is you should be up pushing for 90 points. You should be better than the whole league. If you're a League One team, I think Sunderland were the outlier last season, managed to get into the playoffs. But if you're 60, 65 points, you've had a really good season. So basically, if Ipswich are anywhere within 25 points of Leicester, Leeds and Southampton, they've had a good season. So to actually, if we were to, God forbid, actually manage to get out of King Power tomorrow night with a point, back above Southampton and ahead of two of those teams, obviously you guys have put an ungodly amount of points on we got 65 or something already. So that, that says a lot. That would be a good total for the end of the season for a lot of teams. And we've still got 18 games to play. So look, if Southampton hold kind of anywhere near what they're doing, it's going to be very, very hard to finish above them. Leeds, not quite as consistent as the other two, but Leeds could well go on a really good run. So it will probably be playoffs for Ipswich, but you never know. And also, what we'll say about Southampton is their last 10, they do end up starting to go away to Leicester, away to Leeds on the last day of the season, which could be really, really fast. If Ipswich are still in the mix on the last day of the season, then one of those teams is dropping points. But yeah, whatever happens, it looks like they'll probably finish in the top 6, whatever, unless we have an absolutely dreadful run and fall right off. And that's just a fantastic achievement.
Who's been your standout player then for Ipswich? I mean, if you had to pick any players out there, who would you go for?
I mean, if I can reframe the question a bit, Jack, the standout person has been the manager because, obviously we have nowhere, you're up against Leicester in the Premier League and actually won the damn thing for 8 years. Southampton are in the Premier League for 11 years. And the squads that those guys built up, even with selling some players, just fantastic squads, and Leeds as well are up for 3 seasons. So it's all been how the managers got this League One squad playing together. The standouts, and you'll like this because he's not playing, Sam Morsey in central midfield, he's suspended, has been fantastic. The goalkeeper has been a strange revelation because he wasn't supposed to be in the team and Christian Walton got injured, so Pladke came in and he's been absolutely fantastic. The one who's probably worth the most money is Leif Davis, the left back, who's got tons of assists and is really, really important, to the attacking patterns. Someone's just mentioned him in the comments, George Hurst. Unfortunately, he's out for the season. He's been really, really good. And spread around the team, then the 3 off the front, Burns, Chaplin and Broadhead have all been, very serviceable, but very, very much a team. There's no, you could almost argue, maybe apart from Leif Davis, none of our players would get into, say, a Leeds or Southampton or a Leicester team. So it's all about the manager and the way he's put the team together.
Yeah, true. Last game then you played in the league against Sunderland. 2-1 win for you guys. What was your thoughts on that one? Obviously, first win in 6.
Brilliant win. Yeah, absolutely brilliant win. We had no central midfield. So Luongo was injured. Morsey was suspended. Obviously, Hurst is injured, who's our main striker as well. Hopefully, I mean, we're still sat here on Sunday. They need to get it done pretty quickly if they're going to have someone registered available. I think they need to get it done. I mean, we're recording early in the morning, but need to get that done by midday, I think, for that to be a available player. Burgess centre half. So half the first team have not been around. And to get that win after going behind against Sunderland was brilliant. Obviously, they struggled in the previous 2 games with the lack of first team players and drew 0-0 against QPR and Stoke. So hopefully Luongo will be back. Morsey won't be there, as I say, and Hurst won't be there. But, I know you've got some players out as well, so maybe that'll even it up slightly.
You hope. Not joking.
Yeah.
Ben, talk to me about the January transfer window. How have you found the transfer business from Ipswich so far?
Well, good. I mean, they had to do something, knowing that Morsey was on 9 yellow cards for on 4 yellow cards for the longest time. So he finally got himself suspended. So we knew a central midfielder had to come in. So they brought Lewis Travis in on loan from Blackburn. He's kind of steady Eddie. I'll take 1-1.
He's a Leeds fan, so he'd expect us to drop points, Ben.
Oh, he wants everyone to drop points. Yeah, right. I think that's a heart prediction, not a head prediction, isn't it? And we borrowed, Jeremy Sarmiento, who was on loan at West Brom. He's at Brighton. He's come in as well. But the blindingly obvious thing, they need a striker to replace George Hurst desperately.
Yeah. Let's get on to the big clash itself then in the Monday Night Football. Leicester versus Ipswich. Part 2, should we call it, Ben? Talk to me about Leicester. How impressed have you been with Enzo Maresca in that this season?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because given everything I've said, I predicted Leicester to finich first. So it's kind of a no-win situation for Leicester, because if they finish first, I'll go, well, they had an amazing squad that really had one bad season, didn't you, in the Premier League? And you did the silliest thing possible. You managed to get relegated in your one bad season you had with a squad with Tielemans and Barnes and Maddison and even some of these players that are still playing in the Championship, 20, 30 million pound players, and Dewsbury Hall and then bringing in Winks and Cody, etc., just players that are levels above the Championship. So it's almost like the only thing really Maresca can do that will make me go, okay, fair play, that's really impressive, is win the league by miles. If he wins the league, everyone's like, well, yeah, you've got the best squad, you've got the parachute payment and everything. It's kind of what Leicester should do at their level. But no, I must admit, I was at the game on Boxing Day, and for about 15 minutes in the first half, I was like, this is really good. And the three centre-backs spread out and the fullback goes into midfield. And we couldn't cope. We were trying to go really narrow in your two, Fatawu and Mavadidia right out on the touchline. And for about 15 minutes, we actually couldn't get near you. And if you'd have scored a second goal, you go on to win the game. So I've been really impressed. The points total's incredible. You can't argue with that. But if Leicester don't finish in the top two, it's kind of a failure, isn't it? So it's a difficult one to judge. But if Maresca gets over 100 points, I think he's probably the manager of the year, isn't he?
Yeah. Do you feel Leicester can break that Reading obviously record?
I don't know. It's so hard, isn't it? Because you can basically, to break that record, you can like lose a game every sort of 10 or 12.
Yeah.
You keep having to win like 7 out of 10. You can't even draw very regularly. So look, if they do, it's a hell of an achievement, even with all the things we've said with their incredible squad. So it's a possibility. I think they need to probably have a run of winning 8 out of 10 pretty soon, don't they? But I think they can. I think they can do it, but just need to hammer on. And then the thing as well is what we saw with Burnley is they looked like they were going to do it, and then just dropped off a little bit. It's hard because if you're going to get 106 points, that means you're promoted by Easter, and you've still got another 5-6 games to play, and you've got to keep winning and keep the intensity up. When you know your promotion bonus is guaranteed, you're already planning your holidays. Everyone's thinking about Premier League, so they could do it. And fair play, if you score more than 106 points, that's outstanding.
Obviously, Leicester's January transfer business it's been quite quiet, hasn't it, Ben, from a Leicester front? Obviously, Enzo did say about having to sell players before bringing players in. Cassidy has now gone back to Chelsea. I don't know how impressed you have been with Cesar Cassidy coming down to the Championship. Obviously, we're there last season, wasn't he, with Reading? And then they're bringing Stefano Sensi from Inter Milan.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know he'd said that. The first thing I'd say is Leicester have got an amazing squad. So if they did absolutely nothing in the transfer window, I'm sure they'd still be absolutely fine. It's weird, isn't it? Because you're a bit torn if you're Leicester, because you're like, is there any reason to bring in players for the Championship? do you try and bring someone in already to get them ready for the Premier League next year? Do you know what I mean? And then, if there's some kind of miracle and Leicester somehow get overtaken by two teams, which doesn't feel very likely, then all of a sudden you've got these assets there. But I wouldn't be too worried if I was a Leicester fan. That squad is freakishly good, isn't it? So
it is. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Go and check out Benjamin Bloom's channel as well. I've left his link in the description. So go and head over and go and check out Ben's stuff. If you're new to Ben's channel and you haven't known much about the Championship, then Ben's the man for you. He'll tell you everything. Ben, talk to me how big this game is. A massive game, part 2. Obviously, these two sides met on Boxing Day, a 1-1 draw. Very late fashion, two deflected ones before it goes in. Sam Morsey will obviously claim it, but it'll obviously go down as a Vestergaard own goal for sure. How do you see this one going? We'll do score prediction and team selection later, but how big of a game is this one for both sides in the promotion push?
Well, can I just quickly say, yes, the goal was lucky. I have enough humility to admit the goal was lucky. But I thought for the last 20 minutes, I really did think we gave it a good go and push. Like I say, you could have got 2 goals ahead in the first half. You're all over us for a period in that. But it's what it is. You've got to grab the second goal. But of course, a double deflected goal in isolation is lucky, isn't it? But
it hurts.
It's one of those weird ones where it hurts. So you got 65 points instead of 67. Now you have first world problems, Jack. First world problems. But no, I always kind of play out the scenarios. So if Leicester win, then you start to say, okay, Southampton are now ahead. Are Ipswich going to be able to keep pace with Southampton? So that's scenario number 1. If it's a draw, that doesn't really matter too much for Leicester because they've still got a huge points cushion. Obviously, they'd want to win the game. A draw would be incredible for Ipswich because then they'd be second place. There'd be 18 games to play, and they would have played Leeds twice and Leicester twice. And you're like, okay, then you're saying if they want to do the incredible, all they have to do is score the same amount of points as Southampton over the last 18 games. Hope that Leeds don't go mental and win 12 in a row or something. And they would amazingly be in second place. Obviously, you can say, yeah, nice one, Ben. Scoring the same amount of points as Southampton do might be quite tricky looking how good they are. If Ipswich lose, there's not that much difference in terms of 1 point and 0 points, stating the bleeding obvious. I think maybe do a lot of people then give Leicester the title if Ipswich lose? Maybe there's that scenario. And like you said, 1 win in 6 is then, I know it's 1 win in 7 if they draw, but still, going to Leicester and drawing would be a great result. So it's a big game. What I will say is if Ipswich can miraculously win, which they're obviously massive outsiders to do, then the narrative is actually on Leicester then, because you'd say Leicester 2 defeats in a row. Southampton and Ipswich would have won both their games. If Leeds beat Preston, then you would say the entire top 4 or the 3 chasers have taken 6 points out of Leicester. And whilst it would be very unlikely that Leicester are going to fall off, at least it would be a bit closer then. So those are all the scenarios. But God, if you give me a 0-0 right now, I'm not even coming. Do you know what I mean? It'd be an amazing result if they can get out without losing.
Yeah, this one's a tough game, isn't it? Pressure, really, isn't it? With Southampton keeping up the pace. They're now saying they're like 21 undefeated in all competition, which is crazy, isn't it? How they've gone on that sort of run from how they started.
Jack. 2 more games, that's half a season unbeaten, isn't it?
But yeah, these two sides, they've been battling at the top for most of the season now, haven't they? Both of the sides. This one is where both sides would like to win the game. I think 3 points is crucial for either side in this one. If Leicester do win this one, then we go 10 points clear of Ipswich. So it gives us that bit more of a cushion again. But yeah, there's a lot obviously riding on the game, big game. Obviously, Ipswich, they're not going to come and roll over for Leicester. They're going to make Leicester work like they did at Portman Road. They're going to want to kind of cause us problems and frustrate us for big parts of the game, which obviously they did at Portman Road. Going to Portman Road, you'd only lost, I think it was 1 in the league before Leicester visited. So Ipswich are no pushovers. They're rightfully where they are on merit due to all the hard work and that what Kieran McKenna's put in. But yeah, this one is one of them where we've got to be clinical in front of goal. We've got to put that Coventry defeat behind us, Ben. It's going to hurt, obviously, the M69 Derby defeat. But yeah, it's going to be, this one's a crucial game.
Yeah, 100% agree with all of you said. So tell me what's the deal with Dewsbury Hall then? Is he injured or is he not?
I'm not sure. Enzo said they'd look at it this weekend. So is he going to be fit? Is he not? But then,
I mean, he's a brilliant player. I'd love to see him, but I'd also not like to see him as well.
Yeah, it's been fantastic this season. Dewsbury Hall he's been that leader in that midfield. He's got it going. Obviously, Harry Winks offers that experience, doesn't he, behind him? That it's kind of like he wants to lead by example. He wants to be the man who takes Leicester back to the Premier League. Dewsbury Hall, Leicester lad, and he wants to help as much as he can. Obviously, 9 goals, 9 assists so far in the league. He's been incredible. But yeah, Dewsbury Hall, Enzo said he'd look at it this weekend and then he'd decide on Monday whether he'll play or not. But then he did say he'd pick something up in the Coventry game with that challenge from the Coventry player in the M69 Derby. So whether he plays or not, I'm not sure. But if he doesn't play, he's going to be a big miss, isn't he? For what he offers and what he creates in the team and that. But yeah, I'd like him to play, to be honest. But we've obviously got players who can play there, like Dennis Pratt and that. So obviously Cassidy going back to Chelsea, that doesn't help. That drops the midfield like numbers as well. So yeah.
And let me get it right, Jack. So Fatawu will be suspended.
Yes.
Iheanacho is with Nigeria, is that right?
He is.
And Enzo is suspended as well. Yeah? Has he got touchline ban? Is that right?
Yeah, he'll be in the stands.
Yeah. So, from an Ipswich point of view, you're looking for anything you can get with that brilliant squad. And I mean, I think this should be the deal. I think each team should be able to choose 4 Leicester players that are not allowed to play, just to make it a little bit fairer. But then, from our point of view, there's no George Hurst and there's no Sam Morsey. So, it's much harder for us to cope with our key players not there than obviously no one wants to, especially someone like Dewsbury Hall. But yeah, it's levels, isn't it? Let's just say.
What's been your thoughts on George Hurst, Ben? As an Ipswich fan, obviously you watched him last season when coming on loan to Ipswich, and now you've brought him permanently up until the injury. How is George Hurst settled in at Ipswich?
Brilliant, yeah. And I know Leicester fans were having a little bit of fun with him in the. Do you know what? It was actually that game. He unfortunately got the injury, didn't he? Ruptured his hamstring, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, he was a proven League One striker from his loans at sort of Pompey. Can't sugarcoat it. He was rubbish in his Championship loans at Rotherham and at Blackburn. He just didn't work. So I think he needed to come down and get himself going. But like most of our team, he's been fantastic. And when you're coming up from League One and you want a striker that can run, got a bit of physicality, decent in the air, hold the ball, score some goals, want to do a bit of everything in our system, and you're getting that for 1.5 million or whatever it is, then yeah, he's been brilliant for us, and he is a huge miss. And fingers crossed we're going to see something from the Ipswich Twitter today, and another 6'3" striker is going to be coming through the door. But no, he's been brilliant, Jack.
Fantastic. He has linked up well with Connor Chaplin, hasn't he? Obviously, Connor Chaplin offers a threat. He's scored quite a few this season, hasn't he, since coming in from Portsmouth?
He's got the best job in the world. He basically plays in the number 10 position, and the whole thing is set up to get overloads and cut the ball back to exactly where he's standing. So a lot of his job is to be on the edge of the box, ready to finish them off. And he scored a ton of goals last season and once again this season. That's been the great thing, Jack, is how these players who you're like, are they going to be good enough in the Championship? You know, they were stars in League One, and they've all sort of stepped up and raised their level again. Obviously, when you're against a Dewsbury Hall or a Winks or, you know, that caliber of player, it's a level up. And, you know, you can say the same for Southampton with an Adam Armstrong and Flynn Downs, or Leeds with Somerville and Pirou and, you know, all those star players. But our boys have stepped up brilliantly.
Yeah, let's have a look at the stats, Ben. The head-to-head. Let me move the bloody bottom out of the way. First versus third, 27 Blade, 21-17. I mean, that's incredible stats for both sides going into this one. 2-7 in the draws, 4-3 in the defeats. We then look at the Championship head-to-head. Played 9. Leicester's won 6, drawn 3. Interesting one there, isn't it, Ben, when it comes to the stats? Obviously, stats go out the window for games like this, don't they? Stats don't matter.
They do and they don't.
Unless you're that sort of person who'd like to look at the stats before the game, which obviously some people do. But let's have a look at the last 5 results at the King Power Stadium.
I don't. I'm going to have to talk about David bloody Nugent then, aren't I? Hey?
Yeah, your all-time favourite player, Ben. All-time favourite person. 3-0 defeat. February 2014, 6-0 defeat. Was that when you had Mick McCarthy, Ben? 2012.
I think it might have just arrived. I'm not entirely sure. The top one, definitely. I think he might have been there. It's very close. He was arriving around that time. It could still be Paul. No, do you know? I think it is Mick. Actually, I think he's just recently got there.
1-1 draw, 2011. 4-2 win to Leicester, 2011 May. 1-1 draw, 2010. Last time we played you then at the King Power Stadium was a 3-0 win for the Foxes. Jamie Vardy, who is currently still a Leicester City player, Ben.
Wow.
He was amongst the goals that day. Obviously, Chris Wood, and then your beloved David Nugent.
David Nugent, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't know if people don't know about this. David Nugent played about 12 games for about 5 different clubs against Ipswich and scored about 58 goals, literally. I don't mind. You know, like the whole Messi against Real Madrid or Ian Rush against Everton or Alan Shearer against Leeds. I don't mind that because they're great players. Love David Nugent. But when David Nugent is scoring past you every bloody game, it's just, oh dear. But I think what that makes me think as an Ipswich fan is how happy I am that the new ownership has come in and hopefully, you know, just getting battered 6-0 by Leicester, incoming 6-0 tomorrow now. But hopefully getting battered 6-0 by Leicester is just a thing of the past, and we're a more competitive club than we were under Marcus Evans, which was not a good time.
Yeah, obviously the clubs have had some great moments, haven't they? Since then, obviously Ipswich coming up to the Championship and that. Leicester, you know, FA Cup winners and that. Since then, Premier League. Leicester have been quite successful before getting relegated from the Prem. Some would say you're too good to go down, but Ben, you argue the fact of, don't you, with when people do say that, you know, you deserve to go down if things like that, like last season, happen, aren't you? With obviously the squad is what it is. Maddison, Tielemans, Barnes, Vardy's in there as well. Realistically, that team shouldn't go down, but it does if the heads are not at the club, and it's, you know, obviously Maddison moving on to Spurs. Tielemans wanted out anyway. He ended up joining Aston Villa. Barnes ended up going to Newcastle.
They're top 6 players, aren't they?
They are.
They're not bottom 3 players. And Maddison, for a while earlier in this season, was potentially the most effective player in the whole Premier League for a while for Spurs, wasn't he? So it's just a weird one last season. And I keep saying this season, Leicester are not a normal Championship team. We normally get teams that circle the drain. They're at the bottom of the Premier League for years and they eventually drop through. Or we get yo-yo teams, you know, like Norwich have done and West Brom and Fulham. And Leicester won the damn thing, won the FA Cup, finished in the top 5 couple of times in the last few seasons as well. It's just weird that they're in the Championship. And I think their points total at the moment explains that a squad accumulated over 8 years in the top 6 of the Premier League, those players are just way too good for this level.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to have a lot of things to say about Leicester this season, Ben. Calling us Parachute FC and all that.
It's not even the parachute payments. It's accumulating. I mean, the parachute payments are grossly ridiculous anyway. We get that, but it's the same with Southampton. Southampton were in the Premier League 11 years, so you just accumulate so many good players, to sort of bring down. And hopefully the parachute payment thing will get sorted out in years to come with the independent regulator if they can actually have something to do about it, which is ridiculous when teams come down with way better squads than everyone already. And yes, we understand the point of why they're there, but we can't have one team getting 50 million broadcast at, say, Leicester, for example. Let's not use Leicester because your fans will get upset because people don't like to admit where the advantage is. Say Leeds play Preston today and Leeds get 50 million broadcast and Preston get 5. It's absurd. It's just ridiculous. And if you're Preston, you're like, what am I supposed to do? And that kind of exemplifies how well Ipswich have done to be anywhere near those 3 at the top. But what I'll always say, because fans of teams with parachute payments get very emotional and very defensive about this, it's not your fault. Do you know what I mean? It's not your fault. They're going to give you loads of extra money that nobody else gets. Enjoy it. In life, when you have an advantage, enjoy it, but admit it and have humility about it is all I would say. And that's where fans sometimes struggle. But everybody loved Leicester winning the Premier League and, having that brilliant run. So, it works both ways, doesn't it?
It does. Let's have a look at foot in both camps, Ben.
Wow.
I mean, we'll start with Ian Walker. Obviously, Ian Walker, I think he went on loan to Ipswich.
Did he? I can't even remember that.
We had him for 100-odd appearances. He was an all right keeper. Ian Marshall, another one.
What a player.
Did well for both clubs. Alex Bruce, son of Steve Bruce. Obviously, we had him on loan. Danny Simpson, Premier League winner at Leicester. I believe Ipswich had him on loan as well. Patrick Kisnorbo, another one. Obviously, went down with Leicester in that relegation season in 07-08. I think he ended up joining Leeds, I think it was, after that. But, yeah. Quite a few there. Obviously, there's the Martin Wagons, and players like that, which is interesting, to be fair. I think Marcus Bent played for you lot as well for a bit.
It's quite good for us, actually, yeah.
It's an interesting one because with foot in both camps, there's a big list and you just take different ones out. And I think they're good to talk about. Morning from Chelmsford. Morning, Arfield Foxes. How are you? Right, Ben, we're going to go on to team selection, mate. Give me your formation and how do it set up ahead of this one?
So I would imagine it will be Clacky in goal, Clark right back, Davis left back, definitely Wolfenden and probably Edmondson, but Tuan Zabi could possibly play. I think it'll be Edmondson. Do you know, I think it might be Luongo and Taylor, but it could be Luongo and Travis. It's not going to be Luongo and Morsey, we know that. I would imagine the 3 off the front won't change. So Burns, Chaplin, Broadhead, and probably Caden Jackson again, unless, and let's be honest, we're talking about Sam Gallagher of Blackburn here, unless a deal is done for a striker between now and midday. But I'd imagine that will be the 11. So potentially 10 of the 11 could even be unchanged from Sunderland, but that would be how I'd see McKenna playing it.
Leicester, obviously, there's going to be changes out of this one, aren't they? Fata will be missing. Dewsbury Hall, it's a bit of one of them. Will he play? Will he not? Hermanson will start. Ricardo, Vestergaard, Fass. I potentially like to see Callum Doyle, but then if with Fatu's red card, could we push Ricardo further forward to the right wing and then put Doyle and Justin left back and right back potentially? Harry Winks.
God, your squad is ridiculous when you're listing these names. Jesus Christ.
See, Cassaday's going to be missing, so obviously going to have to put a Dennis Pratt in there. But then the Dewsbury one's a 50-50. If Dewsbury doesn't start, then we're obviously going to have to find a solution there. Mafadide left, and then obviously Tom Cannon starts, and I think Vardy will come off the bench. So obviously Vardy's been, I think he's been injured, hasn't he? He's just come back from injury. So
Jack, sorry, who do you think will play down the right then? If I wouldn't assume they put Pereira there, would they?
I'd say McAteer.
Okay, yeah.
I'd go with
he was
McAteer.
Good at the start of the season, wasn't he? Yeah.
I can't see Enzo putting Ricardo down the wing, but down that right-hand side. I think he'd rather keep him at right back and use him as he's been using him this season. I don't see him like changing it with bringing Doyle in there and then having to try something a little different to what obviously he's used to. But we'll have to wait and see what Enzo thinks. Obviously, Enzo will know what squad he'll pick out of this one. So we'll have to wait and see what he's got in mind. But yeah, score prediction, Ben. I mean, how do you see this one going?
Do you want my head or my heart?
We'll go with your
my head. Yeah,
we'll go with your head.
I mean, you should win, shouldn't you? If you look at the squad and home advantage and all of that good stuff. I think on the Championship Checking podcast, I think I said 2-2, but that was probably more in hope than expectation. I'd imagine you'll probably win. But if we could get a draw, it would be insanely useful. So it'd probably be maybe 2-0 to Leicester. But I did say that's my head. My heart's 2-2. And we can take something away. What say you?
I'm gonna go 3-1. Connor Chaplin will score, I think, for Ipswich. Mavadidi, Tom Cannon. What's your thoughts on Tom Cannon, Ben? Obviously, you watched him in the Championship. How do Leicester fans like? Obviously, with Tom Cannon, he seems really good the way he runs the lines and all that. He can score goals and that. How did you see him at Preston? With obviously in the Championship as a neutral.
I think Tom Cannon for a wider bit. This is why Championship fans get upset, because someone like Preston can get Tom Cannon on loan one season, and then someone like Leicester can. What was it, like 8 million? For
8 mil. 8 mil. With
8 million for a player who's played about 10 Championship games. So that's why people get upset. In terms of you just got no chance of signing anyone for 8 million if you're one of the 21 teams that don't have that payment that I won't mention. But yeah, I think he's good. Do I think he's a 8 million quid player after a few goals in the Championship? Probably not, but that's the deal. Leicester want to bolster their striking options, despite having a ex-Man City striker and an all-time Premier League great in there. Obviously, they need another 8 million quid forward as well. So I think he's a good player. Where was he? It was Liverpool, wasn't it? Everton. Sorry, wrong Merseyside team. So yeah, I'd like to play up front for Leicester, this Leicester team in the Championship. But yeah, I think he just he kind of exemplifies why. And like Southampton took Stewart, didn't they, for 8 million, and Leeds signed Piru for 10 million, and that's what you're up against up the top, aren't you?
Yeah. Ben, thanks for coming on, pal. Do really appreciate it. Let everyone know where they can find you and that then. Yeah,
so Benjamin Bloom Football Channel on YouTube. But I would recommend, if you are a Leicester fan of sound mind, who's happy to listen to comments about other teams as well, come and join the Blue Monday stream tonight at 8 p.m. and we'll be previewing the game there. But yeah, appreciate the chance to come on. Looking forward to the game tomorrow as well. I will be there and I'll do a vlog and I'll stick it out probably at lunchtime on Tuesday. So you can check that out on my channel as well.
Appreciate that. Ben, all the best for the season. Boney after tomorrow, pal.
Good luck. May the best team win.
Cheers, mate. All the best. That was Benjamin Bloom. Great guest. Great chat with Ben. Thanks to everybody who's watched. Guys, as always, if you've enjoyed the stream, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It helps out massively. We're on the road to 3K. What's coming up on the final whistle then? So we'll have the match day vlog out on Tuesday morning from tomorrow's game against Ipswich at the King Power Stadium. We'll also have a bit of FA Cup content coming as Leicester take on Birmingham after that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll catch you very soon. Up the Foxes. Keep it at the final whistle. Hi all, thank you for watching the final whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share and subscribe to the channel.